Thanks for tuning in to watch our trades information videos. On each of these videos, we will try to provide the same amount of information. We'll talk about the physical abilities needed to do each job, the type of lifestyle that might be sustainable. Different areas will get different pay, so we're going to try and just focus on, would you be able to have an apartment? Can you have a car loan? Those kind of lifestyle things that might be associated with a different paycheck. What certificates or licenses do you need? Do you need an EMT certificate? Do you need a commercial driver's license? Do you need different things? So in each of these videos, we will touch on those different requirements. In all of these videos, every single tradesman has made a point to say that the work ethic that the young person can bring to the career is what will make or break their career and enable their success. So I highly encourage you to watch all of the videos that we have on these topics. See what might fit you best. There is a different career and a different trade for each and every different personality. And if you can find what fits you, it will help you to be successful in life. And that is why we are trying so hard to get all this information out to people just entering the workforce or maybe changing the workforce mid-career. We want you to be successful in life. That's our goal. So enjoy these videos. Make sure to hit subscribe, because as I run across different trades, guys, I will get a different video. And if you subscribe, you will get the notification. Have a great time watching and a great day. All right, so Mr. Brian Garver from Encore Electric. We are here to talk about the trades industries, and we are talking about being an electrician today. So I'm not an electrician, obviously.
By the way, I'm not either.
Okay, all right. But you are in a company where you work with electricians and you're privy to a lot of their ins and outs.
Sure.
Can you tell us what the typical day would be?
Sure. So a typical day, and by the way, I am the manager of talent acquisition for Encore Electric. I am not an electrician, but I oversee all of the hiring that we do here at Encore Electric. So a day in the life of a first-year apprentice in your apprenticeship, which is a 4-year commitment. You have to accomplish 8,000 hours of on-the-job training, which roughly is 4 years. There is classroom training that goes along with it. You're expected to go to an electrical class, which we call IEC, once a week for a 3 or 4 hour class. There's safety training involved. But a day in the life of an electrician, and I'll just start off with a first-year apprentice, which is you're almost like a freshman in high school, is you're at a job site, between 6:30 and 6:45 a.m., ready to go at work at 7. You don't get there at 7. The bell rings at 7 o'clock. And generally goes until 3:30, sometimes 4 o'clock if there's overtime, depending along with it. You're working outside in the elements. You're working in the heat. You're working in the cold. Unfortunately, a lot of our electricians that are in the field now, we had a very hot summer, as we know, Becca, and also so you're out there and you're wearing your clothing on the job site, but because of what's going on with the COVID virus, you're wearing your gloves, you're wearing a mask, you're wearing things to protect you and to protect others at a job site. So you are working alongside a journeyman electrician, which is a licensed electrician in Colorado. And you're learning the trade. You're learning how to wire things. You're learning how electrical works. You're learning how different technology works, because now, Becca, being an electrician is so much more than turning the lights on. There's the internet is involved, low voltage, like security and facial recognition and fingerprint scanning is involved. So there's lots of technology that goes into being it. And, the electrician of maybe 20 or 30 years ago, I can only imagine the technology that we're working with now. So really, an electrician that's hired today is more of a technologist than an electrician. But it is a hard job. I mean, it is a full commitment. Almost think of it as a resident, as a doctor. Before you become a doctor, you have to have 4 or 5 years of in the hospital training, so you're aware of all the different scenarios, and it's the same thing here. It's an exceptionally rewarding position. Our electricians, we do pay for their schooling at IEC. It is a commitment that Encore Electric takes. As long as you're maintaining a B average, which is not very hard to do, as long as you're maintaining a B average, Encore picks up the price of your books as well as your tuition. So we pay for your training. So you bring the attitude, you bring the work ethic, you bring the thick skin, and we'll take care of everything else.
Okay. And so all they need to have when they come and apply is curiosity, willingness, high school diploma. Do they have to be 18? What
Yes,
are
you
the
have to be
requirements?
18, high school diploma. That's a good question. And also, I think, Becca, why I'm talking to you today is we are selective somewhat about the high school graduates that we take. But I think for the students that we're talking to, that we're hoping to talk to when we meet with them is, we like the high school graduate that likes working with their hands. They like working on cars. Maybe their father or uncle or mother or grandfather was in a trade: plumbing, electrical, carpentry, sheetrock,
Mm-hmm.
roofing. Those are all things that go along with it. So someone that has that mechanical aptitude, perhaps they grew up on a farm and they had to figure things out because they couldn't bring somebody in to fix a tractor or fix a piece of farm equipment. Those are
Mm-hmm.
all the things that we love to hire somebody. We can't teach that. We can't teach that type of mechanical aptitude. Either you have it or you don't.
Okay, yeah. And sometimes maybe a kid doesn't have it, but their parents have, drilled it in.
And they've seen it. They got up,
Mhm.
mom and dad get up and go to work every day, and whether there was 6 inches of snow on the ground or if it was 100 degrees, there's no snow days in this business.
Right.
And obviously a blizzard, but we're and we were one of the trades and one of the jobs that the governor considered essential when COVID actually hit. So our guys had to go up and go to work every day because things still needed to be built: houses and offices and medical buildings and schools. All of that needed to continue regardless of what was going on in the world or not. So that shows you the type of how essential this job is to not only our society but to the economy.
Hmm. Now, you just made me think of something new. There is a difference. You can be a commercial electrician or you can be a residential electrician. And is that kind of a different lane of maybe personality skills needed?
Not so much personality skills as it is. It really, it's what type of electrical work do you want to be doing? Encore Electric is 95% on the commercial side, new building construction.
Hmm.
Many of the new buildings that are going on downtown, we're doing the electrical work. If anybody out there has been downtown recently and has gone to Coors Field, there was a large parking lot just to the west of that. Well, now there's three high rises there, and we
Hmm.
have 40 or 50 guys at any given time there. If you've been up to the airport, you'll see the Gaylord Marriott Hotel, which is one of the largest hotels actually in North America now. That was a 3-year project, and there were 100 electricians there at any given time.
Wow.
So that's the type of work that we do. We tend to do the really complex, difficult positions. There is a need for both residential and commercial. If anybody out there, if your parents have had to call a residential electrician to do any kind of work in their house, sometimes it can be 3 or 4 weeks for them to even come out to look at it and give you an estimate. So, yeah,
Hmm.
this is a trade like all trades that there is a demand, and it's whether on the residential side or the electrical side. The basics are the same. Like I said, it really depends upon what kind of work you want to be doing once you get your license.
And so with the difference of the residential to a commercial, would it be residential is more low voltage and a commercial would be the high voltage or the super wattage or however it's called?
There would be more low voltage on the residential side, although you're still taking the same type of electricity from the street and wiring it into your house. So the concepts are the same. It's just when you think about it, it's uh, the commercial side tends to be more on a large scale. It's still the same
Okay.
electricity that goes from one building into a house. It's just that you're doing different things with it. And it's worth mentioning, Becca, those are two different types of licenses.
Oh,
A
okay.
residential license is different from a commercial license in Colorado.
Okay. Okay. I was just asking from a mom's point of view, if my kid wants to go be a commercial electrician or a residential electrician, where might he be safer, or it's
Sure.
you're basically saying same.
Yeah, I think safety is such a large thing right now. And actually Encore, we won an award last year, a national award as the safest electrical contractor in North America.
Oh, awesome.
Yeah, so we have anywhere from 600 to 700 electricians at any given time. And I think we had 4 incidents of individuals getting hurt on the job that we had to record with the government. So our job is to send you home in just as good a shape, if not better shape, than when you showed up in the morning.
Okay, all right. You get the mom award then too.
Now, Mom, I can't help what shape they show up to in the morning, but I can make sure they go home in just as good a shape or better shape at the
Yeah, yeah. Just like you got them.
right, exactly.
Okay. Okay. All right. So training needed. They just need a high school diploma, and then the company takes care of training for those 4 years to get to the journeyman license.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yeah. And it's 8,000 hours of on the job training, which is 2,000 hours a year.
Hmm.
Our electricians are paid, and from day one, they're paid an hourly rate, generally about $15, $16 an hour, depending upon which area of Colorado you're in. You receive health benefits after 30 days.
Okay.
Benefits are very good. And also, you receive a 401k after 30 days. And to you students out there that don't know what a 401k is, that's your retirement. And
Hmm.
the company will match a certain amount of what you put into it. So if you're putting money into your 401k as an 18-year-old, you're now talking about being able to possibly retire in your mid to late 50s as opposed to your mid to late 60s like some people do. You're so far ahead of the game. I mean,
Hmm.
you think of the college graduate that, when they're, and I went to college. This isn't Brian disparaging anybody who wants to go to college. I have a college degree, but for those that don't want to, or they want a different career, you're now 22 years old and you're making $65,000 to $70,000 a year with perhaps $15,000 to $20,000 in your 401k, as opposed to the college graduate who's 22 years old who may have $50,000 or $60,000 of debt. And congratulations, here's your debt, here's your $40,000 a year job. So, my point is that it's a very rewarding career, and you're going to get out of it what you put into it, and you're 4 years, 5 years ahead of the game of a lot of college graduates that are out there.
I could not have said that better. If I had have written that down, that is perfect. That is a great
I'll email it to you.
comparison.
I'll send you the response.
Okay. All right. So we've just talked about how, you said 15 to 16, depending on where they are in Colorado. Is that the correct number?
Correct. Mm-hmm.
So let's talk about the typical high school student.
Sure.
They apply, they start working. They're probably able to get a roommate and have an apartment right away and support themselves.
So if you're making, just for round numbers for the students, if you're making $15,000 a year, you're roughly making, without overtime, $32,000 to $33,000 a year,
Mhm.
before taxes, obviously, because your Uncle Sam needs to get theirs. So, but if you're working an average of 5 hours a week overtime, which is not uncommon when we get busy, we have some job sites right now where they're working 45 to 50 hours a week overtime, with including overtime. That number goes up, and you do get time and a half, obviously, after 40 hours. So yes, you could, obviously, you're starting off like everyone else, but we are very passionate about, giving a livable wage, and making sure that, you are maintained. Now, if there's other experience that you bring to the table, I mean, we definitely look at that. Perhaps that number can be a little bit higher, but that $15 to $16 an hour is generally where you're going to be.
Yeah, and that's not shabby at all.
No.
No, that's great. Okay. So I would say, depending on lifestyle, they can support themselves. Maybe they live at home with mom and dad to get it a little bit built up,
Sure.
but then this is very livable.
And it also, Becca, it's also worth mentioning that, you do get a review as an apprentice every 6 months. And if
Oh, okay, not every year.
you're showing up on time and you're doing good work and you're taking
Okay.
direction well, and you're learning from your mistakes, because you make a lot of mistakes, you can generally probably, count on anywhere from, a 50 cents to $1 an hour raise. So, that $15 an hour, after a year could easily be 16 or 17 rather, excuse me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. And so how many guys, you said you have quite a few electricians. Do a lot of them start when they're young and do this for their whole career?
Yeah, this is a lifetime career. One of the things that I read recently is, we've had, some economic downturns. They call them recessions. Since the
Hmm.
50s, since 1950, we've had some major ones, and the only three professions that do well during the recessional time or when there is a downturn are
Hmm.
being a plumber, because everyone always needs a plumber, and being
Hmm.
an accountant, because everyone always needs an accountant on how to do their taxes and how to make sure they have enough money in the bank and so on and so forth, and the electrical trade. So statistically, over the last 70 years, this is a trade that has been rock solid. And when you think about it, you always need somebody to help you turn your lights on, or nowadays your computer, or recharge your cell phone.
Hmm. Hmm. Yeah, you definitely do. Yeah, I guess even the HVAC, which people think is very important, but that's not gonna, if your lights don't turn on, the other
Nothing
stuff won't
works,
run.
right?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Awesome. Awesome. And so you just touched on this briefly, but the work ethic that you're looking for, and that will make a difference on whether you want to hire that person or not hire that person.
sure. Yeah, yeah. It's the work ethic. It's a commitment. Like I said, if you're and sometimes you're traveling, especially where a lot of your students live. They might be traveling a half hour, 45 minutes to the job site every day, sometimes even more. I'll be upfront about that, depending upon where it is. We try not to force anybody to go to a job site that is more than an hour away. There are sometimes that we do ask for volunteers to do some short-term travel, and obviously the company takes care of that. But it's a commitment. It's up every day, and like I said, when it's cold, when it's hot, in Colorado, it's one of the benefits, one of the great things about where we live, where it could be 45 degrees in the morning, but by 2 o'clock it's 80. So
Hmm.
we're not addressed for that, and
Hmm.
it's a full commitment. And sometimes, hey guys, we got to work till late. We got to work late tonight, or hey, we're looking for volunteers to come in Saturday. We're going to work from 8 to 1, chance to make some overtime, and it's not obviously not forced upon, but it is a full commitment, both physically, emotionally, intellectually, because you are going to school, and you do your time, you're going to reap the benefits down the road.
Yeah. And I've talked with a lot of other guys in different fields, and it seems like in the trades, there's more of a camaraderie. When you go to
Yes.
work, you are with your second family rather than going to an office building. Like you and I are in office buildings and we're by ourselves in this little section. But these guys get to have their second family around them, and I think that's rewarding.
It is, and it's a really interesting point, because I think electrical, a lot like being on a farm or on a ranch. Farmers and ranchers, a lot like electrical, they feel they owe it to the next generation to show them the right way to do things,
Mm, mm-hmm,
and to pass that knowledge that they have on to the next generation, so they are able to do it, not only well but safely. And there
mm-hmm,
is type of camaraderie. So yeah, you're going to earn your stripes on a job site. If you've ever been on a job site, yeah, you're going to take your ribbing. There's going to be some joking and kidding and all like and everything like that. But at the end of the day, they want to make you succeed, because they know that you're the next generation that's going to kind of carry that torch of this occupation moving forward. Uh,
mm-hmm,
for if anybody out there, if they've had someone who's in the military, for example, my stepson is a Marine, and wherever he goes, if he mentions a Marine, if there's another Marine in the room, there's that instant camaraderie. It's the same
mm-hmm.
thing, the electrical trade. It's really an interesting thing to see, and it's also a very bonding thing. Also, Becca, when you've been with a bunch of guys, as you mentioned, for 6 months to a year, 2 years, something like that, and you haven't seen each other in years, you immediately start talking about, remember that job that we worked on in that building? If you go to that building, look how great it looks. We built that. And so
Mm-hmm.
there is that fraternity or sorority, because we hire a lot of women as well. We're continuing to look to hire women into the trade, because women do very well in this trade because of their work ethic and detail orientation, and they just seem to pick things up better than men.
Oh, okay. Well, good to know.
Yeah.
Well, and I've been talking to the guys and girls up here at the school, and I said, don't let your gender or hold you back from anything. If you're a small stature person, I happen to be very short and itty bitty, and I have little hands. I can't even fit the size small gloves. So I would have to get, some hand exercise or something to be able to crank a pipe or crank a whatever. I'm like, but if you want to do it, go get that exercise or get it done.
Yeah. Yeah. You'll burn your calories on a job site,
Oh,
especially trade. You're up and down off the ladders. You're carrying equipment. You're carrying your tools. A tool belt is, with all the tools on all the equipment is about 40 pounds.
yeah.
Up and down ladders all day with that. So yeah, you're gonna, you not have to worry about what you eat for a little bit when you're this trade.
Yeah, I've seen some electricians and I can tell who's been doing it for a long time because they have a tool belt that's a little bit bigger than their waist and they've got some of those really heavy duty suspenders latched onto that tool belt. So it's
Yeah,
latched on around their waist, it's latched on here and I'm
right.
like, that's an impressive belt. So that's cool. All right, so guys, girls, high school graduate, 18 years old.
18 years old, and you have to have your diploma or your GED.
Okay. All right. Well, awesome.
Well,
Well, that's
one
it.
more thing I would like to mention, if you don't mind, we do have an initial interview. We are hiring. We are hiring first year apprentices right now.
Oh, okay.
Yes, we hired 150 people to Encore last year. This upcoming year, it's probably going to be over 200. So we are looking for those right high school graduates
Hmm.
to interview with us. Now we do a small background check. We also, I think it's worth noting, we also are a drug-free environment, and we
That
do
is very good to
testing.
note.
Yeah, we do drug testing, including marijuana, and that's not our rule. That is the OSHA rule. OSHA is the governing body of safety for all the workplace out there, and that is an OSHA rule. So that is important to mention.
So, if there are there any deal breakers that a young person might, if they get a DUI or if they get busted for pot or whatever different drugs as a high schooler, would that be a deal breaker or definitely a deal softener?
It's not a total deal breaker, Becca. We're all humans, and
Hmm.
we all make mistakes. I mean, you and I can have a separate conversation, a separate video conference on the mistakes I've made in my life, right? We all make mistakes, and we all take
Hmm.
into account, especially when we're dealing with high school graduates. Things happen in high school. Nothing can ever be a total deal breaker. There may be things we need to talk about. My advice to the students is be upfront and be honest about it. Don't try to
Okay.
hide it, because that is something that we look for, especially when we start our conversation. Hey, so John or Jane told us about this issue, so we've known about it. Let's discuss it. But no, just be upfront about it, because there's an old saying that the bad news never gets better with age.
Right.
So go ahead and tell us about it. I mean, obviously, we'll take that into account, but no, it's not a total deal breaker. We have to talk about. But
Okay.
before you go out and party, ladies and gentlemen, think about, you're at that age where you got to think about how this could affect your career and how it could affect your life.
Right, right. And I it's good to bring that up. Because we are in Colorado and a lot of people have the idea like, well, it's legal in Colorado. Well, but the employers have their rules, you know.
Sure. And like I said, this is a national rule through OSHA. This is
Hmm.
their rule, and I understand, and that people that the marijuana is legal here, and I get it. But you have to have your wits about you when you do this job. So
Right, because there's that brotherhood. You want to take care
absolutely,
of your brother.
absolutely, very well said. And sister.
Yeah, well, your siblings. Yeah,
There you go. Right.
right. Okay. Well, awesome. Well, so this is just a recorded thing. We're going to put this on our YouTube site so people can share and see it. And then we will be in person October 21st at the high school here, Big Sandy High
Yeah,
School.
look forward to it. Yeah.
Yeah. And so thank you so much for joining me and for letting everybody kind of get a little glimpse into Electrician Day.
You're welcome. And for the students out there, if you want to check out our website, and there's more about the day in the life of an
Oh,
apprentice out there, it's www.encoreelectric.com. And Encore is ENCORE electric.com. Feel free to look at that. There's some job descriptions on there if you'd like to look at to see what we're expected of you. And it also, I think, gives you a really good glimpse of a day in the life. But I do look forward to seeing everyone in a couple of weeks. So I'm very excited about it.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Brian. It's great
All
to
right.
talk
Thank
to you.
you.
Okay, thanks for watching our video. I hope you loved it. Make sure to hit the subscribe button and you will get notified when we have new stuff.